Alright, hello. So, this is going to be your intro to how to use bombs course. So, first things first, let's hop into our plane. I'll be using the F-16C here, if I remember correctly. Yes, alright. So, first things first is we're going to open up AMS. We're going to go over to whatever pylon you would like to have. Just going to go through some quick generals. So, with AMS, let me find one here that actually has something to pop up. So let's come down here to your GBUs. So typically GBUs are what you're going to want to use. I'd recommend eGBUs because these are the ones that you can use laser guided with. And it'll also tell you how many pounds of explosives, as well as this will tell you what you can use it for. Obviously any personnel, any vehicle, any armor, and then any building or any structure. Now, just to go through some general basics, if you come over to, for instance, these LJDAMs, these are 2,000 pounds heavier versions, but you'll notice here GPS guided. They have to be using GPS, which means you have to learn how to use the ITC program. That's a bit above what I teach you here, but this one you could, for instance, use the laser guided systems. So, for instance, let's say we're going to use 2 eGBUs just for the point of having some, and I'll also grab 1 times, if I can find it. Where's the JDAMs? Come on, don't fail me now. LJDAMs, there we go. These ones are just not as big though, but that's fine. Just make sure you have the LJDAMs since they can be laser guided. I'll just be teaching you how to use the laser guide system. Most importantly here is if you ever run into this issue where it looks like there's nothing on there, just grab the scroll bar and move up. So what you want to have here is on your 5 pylon is you want to have oh, actually, you don't need to have, this is a jamming system. You don't need to have one of these, but you can if you want. I would recommend it. What you want to go instead over to is 5A and access these pods here. These are the TGPs, or targeting pods. I recommend the Sniper XR or the Sniper HTS pod. Either one would work fine and dandy. So now that you've got these on, make sure you hit apply, and now add them to your loadout. Awesome. So first things first, I'm going to have you hit the control right click button, which is going to bring you into the turret cam. So this is how you can look at things. If you, I have it on mouse 4 and 5, but you'll need to look in your keypad to identify what it is, but you can zoom in and out with this. And that way it'll give you a better picture. This will be highly important when you're actually doing a bombing run. And the next thing is if you press the F button, I want you to locate the targeting pod, which you'll notice up there on the top right hand side. You'll notice how it says off. If you were to left click it, it now says on. And you'll now notice that there's a red little laser marker. This means you now have a laser on. When you're doing this, this now laser guides this now offers a laser to whatever you're looking at. And then finally, if you click off again, that way it'll remove your laser, and that way it makes it easier. So in case you've got multiple people that are doing bombing runs, they might accidentally lock onto your laser instead of somebody else's. There are other solutions to that problem, but we can get into that a little bit later, towards the end of the tutorial. And then the next most important thing is to hit Control T. So now you're going to notice how it says area. So what this will do is this will lock on to an area and steady the camera on that specific area. So if I was to locate it on, for instance, this F-16, and now notice how it says point. So what this will do is it will lock onto this specific point, and it will hold it there unless your craft goes extremely far out of range to the point that it moves the camera off of it. Your camera does have like a 330-degree view of range. And if it goes outside of that, then it will slew off of it. But it will, if you turn the camera back towards the area that you're looking at, it should automatically lock back onto the point. Alright, so these are just the general basics for the camera control. Again, it is mouse 4 and mouse 5 to zoom in like this. It is Control T to lock onto a point. And then Control right click to go into the turret camera. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take off, and I'm going to get us up on to the bombing altitude. So now you'll notice here that there's the Open ITGT system. This is if you're going to use GPS-guided weapons. You can use it for this. I would recommend not touching this for right now just because there's a bit more of a learning curve to that, and you don't want to be accidentally dropping bombs on targets. So now that we're starting to get up here, I want you to do Control right-click and look into the turret cam. So now, if you were to, for instance, do Control T and hover over an area, it will lock onto a general area. But if you were to lock onto, if there's any kind of vehicle down here, or like one of these cargo containers, it will lock onto a specific point. And this will relatively auto-lock on 2 vehicles, and it shouldn't provide you too much difficulty when doing so. So now let's say we've identified you know what, I'm going to go spawn in a vehicle real quick. So let me quickly move over here. I'm going to come over to this little lake bed, and I'll spawn in a nice little target for us here. Some covey bastards. Yihar fiddly dee. So now let's say we are flying over this area, and voila, there are some targets. Now you'll notice that if I get right on top of it, that this will lock on to the general area of the vehicle. Now I want to left click to enable the target pod, which now means I now have an active laser that is directing munitions towards that point. Now what you want to do is you want to select your bomb. And make sure you've got radar on right now, but you'll see that if you look on the radar on the right hand side of my screen, you'll see that little red icon, and then you'll see a white point that will pop up. Make sure that you've got that selected, and this is now guiding my bombs. Now that it's locked, you'll see that the bomb will now fall onto this target. If I zoom out, you'll see the bomb come into camera relatively shortly, and boom, that is now directly guided that munition onto that location. This will work for pretty much any laser-guided munition. You'll see how it says LOAL on the, if you actually look at the top right-hand side corner of the screen, you'll see where the weapon type is. You'll see that it says LOAL, that means it's a laser-guided munition. And same thing for just about any of these other laser-guided weapons. If you're using any air-to-ground munitions, you don't need to worry about this. If you are using something that is GPS-guided, I'll show you with the other LJDAMs that we have. Just don't forget that once you're done bombing a target, make sure that you turn off the laser-guided, the laser pod, otherwise it can't screw up other laser-guided weapons.